Coming up in a moment, Uganda's veteran President Yoweri Museveni gets the formal go-ahead from his party to stand again in elections next year. Then we have the latest in the Burkina Faso coup as regional mediators seek to peacefully roll back military coup in the country. And later on, it's victory for the Black Queens, who the judges concluded the 2015 African Games after a brilliant victory against Cameroon thanks to a unique goal. And we look at the latest in the doping scandal. Hello there and welcome. This is Network Africa on Channels Television with me, Cynthia Are. President Yoweri Museveni will be contending yet again in the elections come 2016. But just before we fill you in on the details, here's a quick look at the top 3 stories which dominated the headlines on the African continent this weekend.
Burkina Faso dominated the headlines this weekend after not only being suspended by the African Union due to the coup, but also the murders which took place particularly on Saturday, September the 19th. 10 people have been killed and more than 100 wounded in the streets of Burkina Faso's capital since a military coup on Thursday, a source at the main hospital said on Saturday. Most of the victims were treated for gunshot wounds. Then South Africa's Parole Review Board has postponed for 2 weeks a hearing to decide if Oscar Pistorius can be released early from prison after being sentenced for killing his girlfriend. The delay was because the board had been unable to finalize all its case on Friday when it had been due to meet to decide if Pistorius should be freed on parole or serve a longer period in jail. It gave no specific date for another meeting. Finally, at least 5 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack on Sunday in the northern Cameroon town of Mora, in what appeared to be the latest cross-border attack by Nigeria's Boko Haram Islamist militant group. The dead included a police officer, 2 civilians, and the 2 female suicide bombers, who detonated themselves at around 8 a.m. in the Galdi neighborhood near the entrance to the town. Cameroon is a major contributor to an 8,700-strong Nigerian-led regional force expected to start operations against Boko Haram this year.
Now, Uganda's veteran President Yoweri Museveni has received the official nod to go ahead and stand again in elections next year. What this move has done is set him up to potentially contend with ally-turned-adversary, former Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi. The 71-year-old Ugandan president has already dominated the East African nation for nearly 30 years now, with a rule bolstered by economic growth, an often divided opposition, and control of the security services. But according to analysts, Mbabazi could be the president's strongest challenger yet. Mbabazi, who was seen as a kingmaker in Museveni's government before he was sacked as prime minister in 2014, originally stood against President Museveni to get the ruling National Resistance Movement's presidential nomination. But he dropped out of the race in July, accusing officials of frustrating his bid. And now he's back to contend come 2016. Let's just take a quick look at the profile of the Ugandan president who will be running come 2016. Well, he was born in 1944. He helped to oust Idi Amin back in 1979. He seized power in the country, that's Uganda, in 1986. He sent troops into DR Congo in 1996, and he promised to stand down at the next election, which was in 2001 at the time. Obviously, he did not keep to his word and will be standing again come 2016. And you should also know that he won a 4th term in office as at 2011. Now let's get updates from a country which is relatively new to prolongment of presidential terms. I'm referring to Burundi. Our sources on the ground tell us that the East African country saw quite a number of killings in the capital over the weekend. One of the bodies which was seen showed a victim who had been tied up, shot to death and then dumped. We cannot confirm who is responsible for the deaths, but we can confirm that this morning, local police were searching residents in the capital for weapons. This check is said to occur regularly since President Pierre Nkurunziza began his third term, which has been widely condemned not only by neighboring African countries, but also the international community, who say the move is a clear breach of the Burundi constitution and the Arusha peace deal. Well, for more on this situation in the country, we go live to our source in the Burundian capital of Bujumbura, where Mr. Jean-Regis Nduwimana, who is in the capital and a university lecturer, is standing by for us. Mr. Nduwimana, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, you are the one who brought to our notice this issue of seeing a body that was dumped close to your neighborhood. Do you have any word on the identification of who the dead man was and probably who was responsible?
The dead man is called Hatunimana Diane. He is allegedly accused to have been caught by the police in the Mugongo Manga area, which is the Bujumbura rural area, and that is a couple days ago. And yesterday in the morning, he was caught thrown in a river in the capital city Bujumbura, and no one can confirm that there is any policeman who was seen there around where he was thrown. So people found him dead, and they are all worried, and no one knows what really happened.
Now, speaking of what is happening, we also mentioned about police checks that go on, especially around you in the capital. What exactly are they looking for? Is it just weapons?
Yeah, it's not only just weapons, but only the shooters, the people who used to shoot in the night. Remember, during days before the elections and even after, people who were protesting now, some have guns, so they used to shoot in the night. So the police have to surround the area and search for guns, and search also for the people who shoot and who throw grenades to policemen. So that's why the police have to surround the area to do such operation.
Now, Mr. Nduwimana, just before I let you go, besides this unfortunate incident about the body which was found at the riverside and the police doing regular checks in Bujumbura, what else is going on, as in the situation at the moment in the country? Are the authorities saying anything to douse the tension? What is going on?
There is some, the European Union and the international community have called for dialogue. The problem is the government, they don't want to get on the table with people who have arms, who have guns, according to the government officials. So they say that we will discuss, we will get into dialogue with people who are in the opposition, but who are inside the country, which is a big problem. How can we discuss without the people who have guns today, who have taken exile? So this is the big problem now in the political sphere. But people also, they are more worried about these assassinations and this kind of arbitrary arrest.
Well, Mr. Nduwimana, thank you very much for giving us the latest, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jean-Regis Nduwimana, reporting from the Burundian capital, Bujumbura. Still to come on Network Africa. We have the latest in the Burkina Faso coup as regional mediators seek to peacefully roll back the military action in the country.